Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and it is what is
Warlock Wednesday. It's Warlock Wednesday.
it today? Oh
Yeah,
yeah. All
Wednesday
right.
of the week.
And today, this Warlock Wednesday, we shall be covering the Eldritch Invocation Investment of the Chain Master.
Indeed. Pack of the Chain requirements, which is like probably the best of the packs, right? Like it gives you a familiar. Familiars are busto. And they give like their imps and stuff. Oh god, it's so good. In any case, this says whenever you cast Find Familiar, you can fuse the summoned familiar, which again is like an imp, a quasit, or a sprite, something bonkers, with Eldritch power, granting it the following benefits. If the familiar gets a fly speed or swim speed of your choice on 40 feet, it probably already has that. As a bonus action, command to take the attack action. Okay. We'll touch on that in a second. The familiar's weapon attacks are considered magical for upcoming immunity and resistances, so it's like a fine attack. The familiar forces the creature to make a saving throw. It uses your spell save DC, which is interesting, and we'll touch on why briefly in a second. And then finally, it says whenever the familiar takes damage, you can use your reaction to give it resistance to that damage, which is like, yeah, sure, I guess that's fine. Most of the time it's dying anyway, because it's got like 3 HP. So, it's not doing a whole lot. However, there are some interesting stuff here. Do you have any initial thoughts before we dive into the creature by creature breakdown?
I am a little confused here. All
Okay,
right. So no matter what your familiar it is, you can give it a
correct.
flying or swimming speed. So
Correct.
if you have a rat, you have a flying rat.
Yeah, and that's delightful, isn't it?
Yeah, that is. I mean, you're never taking that because you got closets and imps and sprites,
Yeah,
but a flying rat is fun.
agree. I definitely think I would build a character that's a little bit suboptimal, but it does do some meme-worthy stuff of having like you have a winged badger that's just like really beaten up, flying around behind you, or like a little star-nosed mole or whatever. I think there's some deeply rich, fun narrative stuff you can kind of do with that, and like it's not good, but if you're at a table, it's like kind of like fresh, fun role play stuff and not really focused on the game mechanics that much. I can see that being a blast. It's definitely not the reason to take this, but it's
You see,
it's cute.
that's usually the sort of thing I would do. But if I'm playing, a Pact of the Chain Warlock, I want an imp or a closet or a sprite.
Yeah, your options are Imp, Quasit, Sprite, and Pseudo Dragon.
Pseudo
Four,
Dragon. I forgot Pseudo Dragon.
yeah, 4 out of 4 of these have at least a 40-foot speed. The only one that doesn't is Quasit as far as the flight goes. So they can all fly at 40 speed or more. Quasit can have a regular 40-foot speed. So if you pick Quasit specifically, it does fly at 40 feet. Pseudo Dragons have a 60-foot fly speed, so like it doesn't actually give them anything. It's a net loss for them, but it doesn't matter. So you get to pick the 60 anyway. But
They could
it's
swim.
technically text here.
Now, all right, how about this? You got a Pseudo Dragon
Mhm.
and you allow it to swim. Can it still fly?
Yeah,
Okay, there you go.
absolutely. The swim speed, if you're in underwater stuff, yeah, sure, why not? It's a
That's that
nice little
that
boon.
might be worth it. In fact, yeah, I guess if you have a pseudo dragon, you just pick the swim speed because other if you pick the fly, you're hurting it.
It doesn't do anything. Yeah. You give quads at flight, you give everything else a 40-foot swim speed, and it's just gravy, right? Because the real meat of the text is the stuff that comes after this. It's the bonus action attack. It is, I think the big thing is whenever your familiar makes saving throws, it uses your spell save DC instead of like 11. Because normally the DC of these monsters is dookie and like 11. Instead, it should be like 17 or 18 or whatever your spell save DC is getting to the upper tiers. It makes it a lot more palatable.
All right, what else we got? Now again, all right, the familiar's weapon attacks are considered magical. Now, does that mean my flying rat gets a weapon attack?
Your flying rat has weapon attack. It bites for 1 point of piercing
Or
damage. That is a magical piercing
magic piercing
damage.
damage?
Yes, yes, yes. Which is, funny, but very bad.
I thought
There
maybe it
will
would
be some bonus
get to
points
wield
if
a sword or something.
I think there'll be cute moments like if the big bad goes to 1 HP and you execute them with the flying rat. That's pretty funny, pretty cute. But like realistic, what's happening is your imps 1d4 plus 3. Sting is now magical. Your quasits claws that do a d4 plus 3, and all these have saves attached to them that add poison damage. These two specifically, so like that's notable on 2 different fronts. But these weapon attacks are magical. For sprites, they do 1 damage on hit, so that sure, like it's magical, I guess. Pseudo Dragon Sting is the same thing, except their poison is a DC. Oh god. So talking about all their hits as bonus actions doesn't do a lot of justice as to what you're capable of doing with these specifically, because the juice behind it is upping their DCs on their abilities. So all of these creatures have baller conditional effects. Imps on hit do 3d6 poison damage bonus if they fail a save, or half as much as a success. So this is like a bonus action d4 plus 3 plus 3d6-ish damage as a thing you just get passively. That's great. That's exceptional. Having your imp that also has shape change, that also can turn invisible, now also present a pretty awesome +5 to hit decent bonus action attack for you is pretty great. It'll get them killed. And the resistance to damage is not saving them because they've got 10 hit points. So they can like take 2 hits instead of 1 now. Oh joy. But like, that's still a reasonable way to expand out your action con if you want to do more attacks. Quasits are a bit more interesting. So Quasits do 2d4 damage poison on their save whenever they hit. But they also poison the target for a minute, which is, disadvantage on attack rolls. That's now debilitating. On top of that, Quasits have a scare ability that lets them frighten a thing off a DC 10 save, and that now bumps up to your spell save DC, so it's now a 13, 14, 15, 16. It's a lot better. It's a lot more likely to actually matter and do things. It's really cool. If you really like the mechanics of your familiars, this empowers it. Sprites the exact same way. Sprites, whenever they hit things, they take 1 point of damage, but they make a save or fall unconscious. And they can do that as their bonus action every turn. You just have a little thing with a 40-foot range just dropping things unconscious every turn as their bonus action. It's yucky good. Like, you can just have your little sprite and be like, pew, 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 pew. Drop a thing, drop a thing, drop a thing. Costs you nothing outside of invocation. It's disgusting. And then Suited Dragons, their sting does the same poison effect as Quasits do, where it does no extra bonus damage, but it poisons them for an hour, and if they fail by 5 or more, they fall unconscious. So it's like a middle ground between the Sprite and the Quasit, kind of, but doesn't do the most damage. So the dragons are kind of the worst out of all these, unfortunately, despite the fact that they're little baby dragons. But, they're all pretty spicy in their own direction. They're all better than regular familiars by a huge margin, so.
Nobody's taking the flying rat.
No one's taking them. Whenever you can have a Sprite that's just machine gunning people unconscious, are you kidding me? It's like an at-will saber die. Get out of here. That's gross.
You were the one advocating for this a few minutes ago.
Okay, that's fair. But I also like playing characters that might not be optimal, but are just high in flavor. I very much care about my character having a rich fantasy to present the character that I want to present. They take my ideas and they play that archetype. I played the halfling hillbilly ranger whose animal companion is their pig, and they go around with their pitchfork, and it was really, really fun. I loved that character deeply. It was a super good time. It wasn't optimal even a little bit, but it was a super fun character to play. And a lot of people are like that. And if you like that and want the flying rat, go for it. If you would much rather have a busted sprite shooting bonus actions, knocking people unconscious, you can do that too.
You know what I like about this? It comes alphabetically right after the one we did last time. What was that? Improved pact weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and like, all right, you think these are the keystone invocations for each of these pacts? The Pact of the Blade, you're thinking, oh, one day I'm going to get an improved pact weapon. Pact of the Chain, you're going to get an improved familiar, and just the difference in quality is so vast. Like,
it's so stark.
How did when they're designing this game? How did they think it's about the same level here?
I don't know what to tell you. Short barrel access definitely equals bonus action attacks to me, I guess. Like, this has 5 things it does. It does 5 things.
I mean,
the improved pack weapon does 1 thing.
I mean, you're not being entirely fair. I mean, this does 5 things. The flying or swimming speed isn't really a thing for most of these. I mean, Pact of the Blade, it does. You can use a bow. It's +1 damage. That's 2 things.
You can use a bow isn't a thing. It's a side grade to an option you already have.
It's as much of a thing as your creature that can fly can still fly.
And can swim now. That's fair. But then this has more text beyond that in several instances.
Absolutely. I'm not arguing these are equal. I'm the opposite, in fact. Yeah. It blows my mind.
I do quickly want to say, with sprites, they do have to fail to save 5 or more. They're just poisoned on if they're not failing by more than 5. That's notable. They don't drop everything unconscious. It poisons, and if it's by 5 or more, they go unconscious. So it drops a lot of things unconscious. That's a small caveat, but it is an important caveat, and it's still utterly disgusting. It's still really, really good to have a bonus action ranged poison attack that drops things that are conscious. Anyway, sorry. Other things that this thing does, or do you want to keep talking about how much better it is than improved pack weapon?
No. We've made that point. Um, what what other things? Did we not cover all the things? What else we got?
Things. Resistance to the damage is a flexible little reaction that makes them in combat a lot less. It lets them survive 2 rounds instead of 1 round, getting them to be familiars. Eating actions by taking hits is good, right? It's action efficiency for you. You already you have a bonus action now that is doing other cool things. So on characters that aren't using bonus actions a lot, this is a great place to get basically an extra attack, like I said earlier. I really like all of the things here. I think it all comes together to give you more of a combat familiar in a way that a lot of people really wanted their sprites and stuff to be for a long time. It actually makes the DC 10 scare effect that you're like, wow, I literally can't use this past 5th level, actually have some meat on it past that tier. Whenever you start getting 15, 16, 17 save DCs, it's scaling with them means your closet can matter in the conditional stuff it brings to the table in the upper tiers. That's super useful, super genuinely great. Alternatively, you could always just get +1, assuming your weapon's not magical, with improved packed weapon.
Oh man, improved pack weapon. That hurt my soul.
It's pretty rough.
I I just look at my patron and say, really?
This is all Dylan over there got his sprites
Yeah.
like lighting people on fire, and I get this crappy thing. I have a better sword than this at home.
I've given you my soul.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Find Familiar is categorically busted. I will say this doesn't scale super well. This is another reason to multiclass out of Warlock very quickly. It's also a really good reason to multiclass into Warlock, though. If you don't have a great thing to do with your bonus action, having a second character be a scaling sprite, Quasit Imp, or Pseudo Dragon is great. They're all powerful in their own right. They bring a ton of utility to the table. Like, sprites have a 40-foot fly speed, invisibility at will, and can knock things unconscious, as well as they have this cute thing called heart sights that can know the emotional states of stuff, which is neat. It's like this weird little lie detector kind of on your shoulder that's super nifty. Imps can turn into beasts. They can, I think both Quasits and Imps have shape change. Yeah, they can turn into centipedes or bats or toads and all kinds of nifty little critters so they can disguise themselves. Like, I like to say that the packed familiars have more text than some fighters do, as far as like utility they bring to the party, like things that interact with the world in interesting, meaningful ways. Magic resistance is on both Quasits and Imps, so they already have advantage on saving throws against spells and stuff, so they're not as likely to die to those. That's pretty spicy. Like, there's a lot of really good juice here, and this invocation just lets you use the full of their stat block to its most in the exact way you'd want to. I really deeply love it. It's still not like game warping. It's not giving you a ton of new stuff to do, but it's making the stuff that you already have do actually work in a lot more instances. I do think that makes it a lot more exciting.
Yeah, that's and everybody loves Find Familiar. Just any way to improve your familiar is exciting for me.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like, they're really good on their own, but getting them to make attacks, getting them to engage with you in a little bit more of a tag team kind of situation, giving them abilities that have a higher DC than 10, like, that is all pretty sweet.
Well, that was that. You got a rating for this one?
I think this is a 4. I think the empowerments it gives to the low tier characters is enormous. Like, getting this at 3rd level is gross. It's really, really good to suddenly have your imp have functionally 20 HP and a really powerful sting that's doing a D4 +3 +3d6 damage with your spell save DC damage that can turn invisible at will. Like, it is a meaningful improvement on a powerful archetype. It doesn't scale that great, but that's not really normally what people are doing with Warlock anyway. So, like, you can grab this, dip out, do other things, get some Rogue multiclass, get some Bard multiclass. If you do want to stick with Warlock, like, you're gonna stumble in the mid tiers because you're not getting a lot of new things through your pack match. Doesn't scale that well, but like, once you get Mystic Arcanum and stuff, you'll start to feel like it's coming back together. And honestly, this invocation can cover you a lot of the way there, just because the bonus action attack is big and meaningful. The empowerment to like using the scare in cool ways, using your sprites in cool ways. Pseudo Dragon's giving you master telepathy. Like, there's a lot of juice here. Getting a little bit of improvement of it will keep you feeling like you're doing well, and it then still will scale as the game progresses, as your proficiency bonus goes up. All of these effects keep mattering as the game goes on, and that's genuinely powerful.
I'm waiting for a but.
There's no but. It's a 4.
Well, I mean, there's no but. It's a 5 for me.
isn't breaking the
I love
game in half. It's still just like, okay, their snare's better, and it's a lot better. And their sting is now a bonus action. That's pretty cool. This is like Summon Beast. It's fine. It's great. It's a great companion, but it's not game warping. Your DM can account for this. Your DM can kill your familiars. They're still like 10 HP. They don't get more HP as the game goes on. It definitely does get worse, but
it's a lot of fun, and that's
definitely
what I want out of my invocation. Yeah, by my standards, definite 5 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that was Investment of the Chain Master. Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. Let us know what you think in the comments. Yeah, tell us about your favorite familiars or flying rat or whatever.
Yeah, I would love to hear if you played Pact of the Chain and deliberately chose none of the empowered familiars, how your experience was, if you had a good time with it. Those all stories are always great.
All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it, a gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.